What if your entire life is a memory being replayed? Have you ever gotten that weird feeling of déjà vu? That nagging sense that you've been in this exact moment before? Most of us just shake it off as a weird brain glitch, a bit of crossed wiring. But what if it's more than that? What if it's a hint that your life isn't happening for the first time, but is a memory you're replaying? It sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, but a completely accidental finding might have just given us the first piece of the puzzle. Scientists reported the brain activity of a person at the moment of death. What they saw could challenge what we think we know about life, consciousness, and death itself. It suggests that in our final moments, our brain doesn't just power down. Dr. Ajmal Zemar, the neurosurgeon who organized the analysis, speculated that this might be the science behind the age-old idea of your life flashing before your eyes. He suggested the brain could be playing a final highlight reel of important life events. This offers a potential explanation for the thousands of stories from people who've had near-death experiences and vividly recall their lives playing back. But, and this is a big but, the researchers have urged caution. This was a single case study, and the patient had an injured brain affected by epilepsy, so we can't draw any universal conclusions from it. Still, it opened a fascinating door. It was the first real hint that our final moments might not be a slow fade to black, but a brilliant, organized finale of memory. A last act biologically programmed into the brain. Section 2. The glitch in the matrix. Déjà vu. So if our brains might perform a grand replay at the end, could they be practicing throughout our lives? This brings us back to that familiar, spooky feeling. Déjà vu. Is it a glitch, or is it a clue? For centuries, people have blamed déjà vu on everything from past lives to psychic moments. The truth is, it's a memory phenomenon, and neuroscientists still don't have one single, universally accepted theory for why it happens. Instead, there are several competing ideas that all point to a momentary hiccup in our brain's complex systems. One popular theory is that it's a simple timing error. As your senses send information to your brain, it travels along different paths. If one path has a microsecond delay, your brain might register the same event twice, making the second signal feel like a memory. Another idea focuses on a conflict between two parts of the brain. One that signals a feeling of familiarity, the rhinal cortex, and another that handles the details of a memory, the hippocampus. Déjà vu could happen when the familiarity circuit fires, but the recall circuit doesn't. You get a powerful feeling of, I've been here before, but with no actual memory to back it up. Dr. Akira O'Connor, a neuroscientist at the University of St. Andrews, has a different take. He proposes that déjà vu isn't a memory error at all, but a sign of a healthy brain's fact-checking system working correctly. According to his research, Your brain sometimes creates a false sense of familiarity, and your frontal lobes, the part of your brain responsible for decision-making, catch the mistake. That strange, uncanny feeling is the conflict between the false feeling and your rational mind, knowing it isn't real. So, it's less a glitch in the matrix and more of a successful system check. Section 3. Your brain, the ultimate time machine. The idea of the brain replaying events isn't just limited to near-death moments or the occasional weirdness of déjà vu. It's something your brain does every single night. The process is called memory consolidation, and it's a crucial part of why we sleep. During the day, your hippocampus acts like a scratch pad, recording experiences as fragile, short-term memories. To make them last, they need to be transferred to your neocortex for long-term storage. This happens while you sleep. Your brain replays the neural patterns of things you did during the day. Studies have shown the same neurons that fire when you're learning a new task will fire again in the same sequence while you sleep, often at a much faster speed. This high-speed replay strengthens the connections between neurons, locking the memory in place. But it gets even more interesting. Your brain doesn't just make a perfect copy. It acts like a film editor. Research suggests the brain prioritizes replaying events that were emotionally important or tied to some kind of reward. It might play experiences forwards, backward, or even chop them up to pull out the most important lessons. So this isn't just about remembering what you had for lunch. It's about learning. By replaying and remixing your experiences, your brain builds and updates its mental map of the world, getting you ready for whatever comes next. Every night, your brain replays parts of your life, not just to remember what you did, but to decide what's important enough to keep. Section 4. The bigger picture, where science gets speculative. Now let's take a leap. We've got a potential life review at death, little memory glitches like déjà vu, and nightly memory replays. What if they aren't separate things? What if they all hint at a much stranger idea, that our experience of now is itself a kind of replay? This is where we leave the solid science and step into philosophy. The idea that life repeats isn't new. Friedrich Nietzsche called it the eternal return, a thought experiment where you would live your exact same life, with all its good and bad, over and over forever. If that were true, he asked, how would you live differently? Modern ideas have given this a techie spin. The simulation hypothesis suggests our reality is a giant computer program. If so, our consciousness could just be a program being run or rerun. Concepts like whole brain emulation even imagine a future where we could upload a consciousness by mapping all its neural connections, which could then, in theory, be replayed. To be clear, the data from the Dying Brain study doesn't prove any of this. It's just a single, fascinating data point. The gamma wave surge isn't proof we're in the Matrix, but it's a powerful reminder that the line between life and death is fuzzier than we think. It hints that consciousness might not just be an on/off switch, but a process with its own incredible final act. Conclusion. So where does this leave us? The thought that life might be a replay doesn't have to make it meaningless. In a way, it makes every moment even more important. It suggests that our consciousness is more resilient than we know, and that the minds of our loved ones might replay their most cherished moments in the end. It reframes death not as just an ending, but as a final, profound journey from experience into memory. And it leaves us with one last question to think about. If you knew your entire life was a memory being replayed, a film you were watching for the second, or maybe the millionth time, would you change anything? What moments would you want to see in your final review? Let me know your thoughts down below. Thanks for watching.